Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new edition of 24 Frames, a show that goes inside the world of filmmaking, music, and art, and tells you the stories and entertainment you want to hear. I'm your host, Paul Hunton. Recently, the 24 Frames crew took a quick trip to Austin to check out the Texas Film Hall of Fame Awards. Some of the honorees have Lubbock ties, and I also almost passed out when I crossed paths with Matthew McConaughey. That man is handsome. We also talked to documentary filmmaker Andrew Garrison about his new film Trash Dance, which you'll get to see a clip of. But first, I stopped by the world-famous Alamo Draft House to talk to its founder, Tim League, about how the Draft House got started, texting in theaters, and well, movies. So grab your popcorn and settle in. 24 Frames isn't coming soon to a theater near you, it's here right now.
Lights, camera, action. 24 Frames is a new production from KTTZ Channel 5, profiling filmmakers, presenting short films, and going behind the scenes of the places that entertain you. Now, the host of 24 Frames, Paul Hunton.
Every movie lover at some point has to take a pilgrimage to Austin to check out the world-famous Alamo Draft House. Right now I'm standing outside a new Alamo Draft House on Slaughter Lane, and CEO and founder Tim League is waiting to talk to me inside. Let's go check it out. The new Alamo Draft House at Slaughter Lane has an interesting little shop of horrors vibe. It's also their largest theater to date, with a full sit-down restaurant attached. But don't worry, it still has everything you love about the Alamo, like beer and great movies. Tim League tells us more. The Alamo Draft House, obviously, for any movie nerd, is a mecca. Everyone's got to make the pilgrimage and come check out the Draft House. Tell me, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, it's really something that came out of being a little bit dissatisfied with my career choice right out of college. I was a mechanical engineer for Shell Oil. I did that job for a couple of years, but really, almost starting with day one on the job, I realized this wasn't something I wanted to retire from. I started looking at options, and there was a wide spectrum of things I thought I might do, but there happened to be an abandoned theater on my way to work. One day there was a for lease sign, and a week later, without really thinking too much about it, I signed that lease and I got into the theater business.
Well, so did you always, you obviously had to love movies, right? or was it just like, heck, a theater, let's do this?
It's a little bit of both, yeah.
Okay.
My only qualification at that point, I was pretty young. I was, I think I was 23 years old, I think, when I drove past the building. Okay. And I hadn't really ever had any other job, so I loved movies, but that's really the only qualification. Certainly didn't know how to run a business.
So it was just kind of a new adventure for you then.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, and I know about the Alamo Draft House, and there's going to be a lot of people that do. For those that don't, explain a little bit how you guys are different from just going to, a Tinseltown or something like that.
Well, I think it started out that our big differentiating factor was we're sitting here at a table.
Sure.
So,
yeah, exactly.
This was the key to it in the beginning, is that we served food and had beer and wine, and you can have that while you're watching the movie. And then over the years, the other differentiating factors came in, I think largely based on our programming. We do a lot of alternative programming that you don't see at many other theaters. Yeah,
we were down on 6th Street last night and saw that Life Aquatic was playing. Mm-hmm. I would have loved it. We missed the showing. I would have loved to go in and watch it. But yeah, and that's a movie, Wes Anderson, Austin filmmaker. Mm-hmm. But that movie's been out of theaters for a while. So do you guys just do random, right now, for instance, I was like, Slaughterhouse Lane. Surely on Halloween they're not going to miss that.
Oh, we're not going to miss that.
There's got to be plenty of, horror movies going on around Halloween down here on Slaughter Lane, I imagine.
Around that time, we actually have a festival that we produce that's now become the largest genre festival in the United States, and that's horror, science fiction, fantasy. So those types of movies are very near and dear to my heart. So those are what I grew up on as a kid, and I still try to be a kid at heart. So October is the time to let our 12-year-old boys run wild with horror movies.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and you guys also, another thing that kind of separates you guys is, I hate when people talk in movies.
I do too.
I hate when people text in movies. I hate when people are late to movies. But that goes the extra mile. I guess you can't force people to show up on time.
That's tough.
But that can alienate some people, but that also makes it a more, I think, appealing viewing experience. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's something that we started early on in year one. We since we serve beer, some people thought, wow, this is just kind of a casual environment.
I see.
And some people started to get loud, cut loose a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we put a hard clamp down on it. We instituted a policy that we're going to warn you, and we're going to tell you if we have to come back again, we're going to kick you out.
Yeah.
So listen seriously. And we follow up on that. We kick them out without a refund, which makes people angry.
I'm sure everyone's seen the YouTube video,
Yes,
which is
yes.
great. One of our producers hadn't seen it yet, and I showed it to her, and she was like, I love this. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of theaters have no talking policies. I mean, most do. You'll see
Sure.
it on screen, but it's
more-
never enforced.
Exactly. It's more of an enforcement thing with you guys, that you
Right.
guys actually follow through with it, and then you just happen to have one of the most awesome voicemails left on your on your answering machine.
Yeah, she did us a little favor there for marketing.
That's right. So, what's your favorite movie?
Oh,
I'm sure you have. I know. I hate when people ask me that question, what's your favorite movie, but
It's
I
funny.
gotta ask it.
You know, people do ask me that a lot, and I never seem to have taken the time to come up with that perfect answer.
Right.
I think it changes a lot.
Sure.
You know, I get really passionate about movies that I see recently. So
I understand that.
You know, we actually ended up buying one of the movies that I thought was my favorite movie of last year, which was Bullhead, which we released in theaters. And that kind of speaks to this other branch of the company, that we buy movies that we're passionate about and feel we can share them with a lot of people.
Well, we're based out of Lubbock, and everyone's always like, does Alamo Draft House, are they opening anywhere else? Are you guys ever going to expand even further than you already have? Would you ever come over to West Texas?
You know, I really like Lubbock. We have a relationship with the hospitality department at Lubbock, where we take interns from Lubbock.
Okay.
And some of our senior management team actually went to Texas Tech. So it's great. We actually, one of the managers for this very facility, we hired her straight out of Texas Tech hospitality program. And I love the town. I think it'd be, you know, it's a great college town. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Right.
We'll be having a neighborhood theater in Lubbock.
Excellent. That's great. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for
problem.
talking with me about movies. Appreciate you.
It's time for 24 Frames Movie Trivia. Which actor said this famous line? I'm walking here, I'm walking here. Was it A, Dustin Hoffman, B, Robert De Niro, C, Al Pacino, or D, Jon Voight? The answer when we return to 24 Frames. Host and Toast is proud to sponsor 24 Frames with a wide variety of wines, home decor, bridal registration, and tastings every Friday. Host and Toast, 2703 26th Street, Tech Terrace.
This summer, your journey begins here. Celebrate the 4th with a bang. On Mondays, the creators of Antiques Roadshow make you an offer you can't refuse.
We have a deal. 45 it is.
Gonna spend the money now. Here we go.
And the mob has Wallander on the run.
I would appreciate the truth. What is going on?
I like it.
It's all in the one place that can take you any place.
Hi, I'm Ken Burns, inviting you to watch our latest film, The Dust Bowl, right here on KTTZ TV, Channel 5, part of Texas Tech Public Broadcasting.
So, which actor said this famous line? I'm walking here, I'm walking here. If you guessed A, Dustin Hoffman, you are correct. Hoffman says this line in the film Midnight Cowboy. And now, back to 24 Frames.
It's going to start in September, so we have the best of
Guys, gather around. I'm really excited.
What's going on?
Tonight, we're going to air Trash Dance on 24 Frames. So keep that in mind, all right? Thanks.
What's trash dance?
Whoa. What in the heck are you two doing?
You said trash dance. We're trash dancing.
Yeah, I said we're going to show the film Trash Dance. It's a movie. It's a documentary. We're not going to dress in trash.
But we already have it on.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it looks good. It looks like you spent a lot of time, probably too much time on this stuff.
So we're just wearing trash for nothing?
Get off my set. Now, the last two people that I could imagine coming together to put on a musical production are sanitation workers and a dance teacher. But that's exactly what happens in documentary filmmaker Andrew Garrison's new film, Trash Dance. Now, the film made its world premiere at this year's South by Southwest Festival, and it continues to tour the film festival circuit. So please, turn your cell phones to vibrate. Keep your feet off the seat in front of you as we proudly present an excerpt of Trash Dance. Oh, and stick around after the film when I sit down with Garrison and talk about his filmmaking process. Please enjoy the show.
A lot of times being a trash man, a trash collector, we're taken for granted because they think that's all we are. But a lot of us are smart people. A lot of us are college-educated people. A lot of us are street-smart, educated people.
What's fifth wheel?
The fifth wheel is like a combination tractor.
Oh.
Tractor trailer.
Okay.
We're not just these dirty people that pick up garbage, like I say, that there is some grace to what we do. You have to be skilled. You have to know what you're doing. We all are professionals, and you have to be a professional to do what we do. Because I don't think people, just a normal, everyday Joe Blow, would want to get up at 2:30 in the morning and go pick up trash.
I need to be talking with you because I think you need to be in it.
Really? This lady's crazy. How are we gonna dance? How are we gonna make trucks dance?
Tell me how to do it right. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
How can I make a big old hunk of machine be romantic?
I'm here with documentary filmmaker Andrew Garrison, whose newest film, Trash Dance, premieres at South by Southwest. Andrew, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about Trash Dance.
Trash Dance is about the collaboration between a local choreographer and Department of Solid Waste Services employees, trash collectors, to make a spectacular dance performance.
It's a fascinating production, and one of the things that caught my eye about it is it's so interesting that in filmmaking in general, it's tough to get people to open their lives to you. It's a whole new thing to get these guys who come from different backgrounds and are sanitation workers to understand the art of what they do. What was that like, seeing that kind of transformation?
Well, the thing is, they all have very full lives. They're all doing a lot of things, and many of them are doing very creative things. And so it was this, this person suddenly shows up on the job and says, I want to do a dance with you all, and you all can do the dance. They're like, this is interesting, this is amusing, but we've got things to do.
Sure.
So it was this campaign on Allison's part. Allison Orr is the choreographer, to win people over. And she did that by, working side by side and watching and listening and talking. And she gained their trust and gained their respect. And then they came to the table as equals. There's a blues harpist, a harmonica player named Orange Jefferson. There's a jam skater who break dances, a guy named Anthony Phillips. There's Ivory Jackson, who's a rapper who performed a song for it. And then the people who are doing their everyday movements as dance. So people brought skills and opened up and participated as equals. It was a great thing.
Yeah, it really is, and it's one of those. It's an interesting story in the sense that it's always great to see that collaboration of art and real life kind of come together. It kind of feels like Inception. It's a movie about art, about life. But I guess that's what every movie is, especially in documentary filmmaking.
Yeah, you hope, right?
Yeah. Well, and that brings up another thing. Where I found your film was on Kickstarter.
Oh, good.
And tell me a little bit about that process, about what made you want to reach out to that community.
Well, it's when I started this film, I have a camera, I've got sound gear, and basically I'm shooting by myself for a year, and it's not a big commitment for anyone else. It's my time. But after a certain point, you need some funding to keep doing certain things, to hire certain people, and especially in post-production. And that's 90% of the activities in terms of just time that filmmakers spend is spent raising money. It's like a year and a half of raising money, a few weeks of actually doing something.
Sure.
So Kickstarter is another avenue to do that. It was very interesting. You know what it is? It's a
yes, of course.
Fund,
it's a crowdsourced fund, and that's an interesting thing. 15 years ago, well, 5 years ago, you didn't have that. 2 years ago, you didn't have that. And so what do you see the future of that? I mean, you see some big projects coming out of it. I think they just had their first $1 million project go through. And so what do you think the future of that is for filmmaking as a whole?
Well, it's like a giant bake sale. But the cool thing about it is that you do actually reach out to a lot of people. I was, I don't want to do this. This is a lot of work. But even for those $2 contributions, you have people who are saying, I really like this project. And It's amazing how uplifting it is to have people see a little something and go, yes, this is great, I want to support it. So there was this kind of combination of financial support and just morale boosting that comes with that. The other thing is that I really like the Kickstarter people. You actually wind up in conversations with some of them.
Oh, okay.
They've been very supportive of the project all along. And I admire them for what they're doing, and it's something which actually is helping across a lot of different arts. So it's exciting.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. For more on this interview and more on Trash Dance, go to our website, www.thefilmframe.com. And do you guys have a website? You do. Go ahead and tell that to the audience.
It's trashdancemovie.com.
And it's great. I can tell you, it's wonderful. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing it.
We are at the Texas Film Hall of Fame Awards. We are fighting for real estate right now. It's been a real interesting experience fighting over space on the red carpet. A lot of big names are about to come through. Robert Rodriguez, Matthew McConaughey, Richard Linklater, a lot of big Texas names, Danny Trejo, and Marcella, my producer, and I are here on the red carpet, and we are elbow to elbow with every other media agency in the tri-state area, and we are fighting over who is going to be able to get these interviews or not, and I am petitioning to get us closer and closer and closer, so hopefully I come through. Bless my heart. Bless my... The red carpet, where dreams come true and celebrities do what they do, which is talk about themselves. The Texas Film Hall of Fame Awards honors some of the biggest names in Texas film history for doing big Texas things, because as you know, everything in Texas is, well, bigger. At the 2012 celebration, they were auctioning off items to raise money for Austin Film Society's programs. And even Dennis Hopper was there. Well, at least in spirit. Overall, there were some great people that we talked to, and some of them even had ties back to Lubbock. We are out of Lubbock, Texas, and if I'm not mistaken, you were born in La Mesa, is that right?
That's right. I was born in La Mesa and raised in Lubbock.
Oh, raised in Lubbock. How long did you spend in Lubbock?
Oh, I was there from about 1948 till 64, I guess, something like that.
Well, I made a huge mistake. Your brother came through here, and he looks a lot like you, so I was trying to flag him down, and I thought it was you.
No, it was him. You should have stopped him. He'd pretend to be me.
Well, I tried to, and he wouldn't let me do it.
He signed when we were doing a movie with Burt Reynolds. He signed Burt Reynolds' name to a bunch of people.
We're out of Lubbock, and there's an urban legend in Lubbock that you went to Lubbock Christian University for a semester. Is that true?
That's true, and I went to Texas Tech as well.
Okay, a lot of people's minds just got settled. Now, Bat Out of Hell, why isn't Bat Out of Hell a 3-hour musical epic movie? I feel like that would be just an amazing, you see Chicago and Moulin Rouge, why isn't Bat Out of Hell a movie?
You don't want to know.
Well, thank you. What makes Texas such a special place for filmmaking? I know Hollywood is great, but Texas has a pretty special place as well.
Oh, I don't know what for a Western, it's perfect. It's perfect. Now, we did not shoot Rio Bravo in Texas. So I wasn't we were in Arizona.
I knew that. Yep.
Okay, so.
I'm like a crazy film nerd, so yeah.
I love that.
What makes Texas a special place for movies? LA's got its thing and Hollywood's great, but Texas has a really good community as well.
Well, not to sound too cliche, but everything about Texas is special. I was born here, I grew up here, I was educated here. It's where my family was born here. And you can't, I once did a movie that the whole thing had actually taken place in Tennessee. And when I got there, the script had been rewritten so that it happened in Texas. And I asked the writer, director, I said, why has this been changed? And he said, because nobody in the world gives a damn about what happens in Tennessee, but everybody wants to watch Texas.
Danny Trejo, who has starred in 10 of Austin filmmaker Robert Rodriguez's films, was surprisingly short. And he was being presented with the Honorary Texan Award, because what Texas doesn't have, we'll claim as our own.
For me, it's a great honor. I mean, just my whole family's from Texas. I'm the only one that's from Los Angeles, you know, so I finally got them, you know.
You won up the whole family. Man, I wish I could do that to mine. Hey, is there going to be a Machete too?
Yeah, I come back from Romania doing Death and Tombstone on the 29th of April, and we start Machete Kills. So, and it's awesome. We've talked about it. Well, we got to make it pretty great to outdo jumping out of a window holding on to a guy's gut. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, in the first one you didn't think about a sequel, so you went for broke, and now it's like, how do we top that?
He did it.
He'll do it?
Oh, great.
After the red carpet, we hit the festivities inside the Austin City Limits Theater. Matthew McConaughey walked by me and I almost fainted. He's very handsome if you didn't know. Nakia from The Voice was there to entertain, and they handed out some awards too. Barry Corbin and Dennis McGrath were inducted into the Texas Film Hall of Fame. Meatloaf won the Soundtrack Award, and the Star of Texas Award was given to Rio Bravo and accepted by Angie Dickinson, who still looks lovely, by the way. And Danny Trejo became an honorary Texan. It was amazing to get to meet and talk to some of my idols, and the whole crew here at 24 Frames can't wait to go back next year.
Think as big as you possibly can. Aim really high.
It's time for 24 Frames Movie Trivia. Who was the actor who was originally supposed to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future? Was it A, Matthew Broderick, B, Eric Stoltz, C, Emilio Estevez, or D, Morgan Freeman? The answer when we return to 24 Frames.
Meet the collector.
Hey, I'm in it to win.
The hunter.
I'm gonna find the Hope Diamond of costume jewelry right here.
The negotiator.
I think I'd rather be down in the 300 range.
The contender.
I think I'm gonna take them down today for sure.
They are market warriors. New from the producers of Antiques Roadshow. Will they cash out on trash or cash in on treasure?
Manna, a proud investor of Channel 5, announces the addition of Milo's Fine Wine and Whiskey Bar and our expanded menu. We've upgraded the quality of our food selection to include aged prime beef, Cop River salmon, a large selection of wild game, and weekly specials. Our chef blends classical dishes with Texas favorites, and our wine list provides selections for both novice and experienced wine enthusiasts. Manna Bread and Wine, 2610 Salem Avenue, number 19 in Cactus Alley.
So, who was the actor who was originally supposed to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future? You guessed Eric Stoltz. You are correct. In the end, Stoltz was replaced by Michael J. Fox, and the rest is history. Now, back to 24 Frames.
Hollywood and New York are the hubs of filmmaking in America. They both have birthed some of the greatest films in the history of the art form. As the studio system came to an end in the last half of the 20th century, Austin, Texas became another superpower in the world of filmmaking. The boom of the movement can be traced back to director Richard Linklater, whose film Slacker is still an independent cinematic milestone. Shot for $23,000, it doesn't really follow anything. It's about a day in Austin, Texas, and it meanders around town showcasing different colorful characters, 14 of them to be exact.
Man, I am freaking out so severely. Did you hear what happened on the freeway? You didn't see the local news today? Oh, it's beautiful. Man, this old man driving to town from San Antonio, like this old man about 40 or 50 years old, going about 100 miles an hour down the freeway, waving a gun at people, laughing.
The plotless film was heralded by critics for its independent spirit and low-budget know-how. In fact, many give it credit for ushering in the independent cinema movement of the 90s, along with Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs and Steven Soderbergh's Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Now, another Texas filmmaker who made a big splash early on in his career was Robert Rodriguez, whose Troublemaker Studios is now a staple in Austin filmmaking, churning out such hits as Sin City and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. His debut film, El Mariachi, was a low-budget international sensation. Shot for $7,000 in Mexico with mostly non-actors, El Mariachi is a vibrant, high-octane action movie.
He's wearing black. Find him!
And while the acting can be pretty hammy at times, it's remarkable to see how with such a small budget, Rodriguez was able to put such a big vision on the screen. To read about his process and how he was able to become a filmmaking giant, you can check out Rodriguez's book, Rebel Without a Crew, or how a 23-year-old filmmaker with $7,000 became a Hollywood player. Austin continues to remain a filmmaker's haven and birthplace to independent visions. For more on our Austin trip, remember to visit kttz.org. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/24frameskttz and follow us on Twitter at 24frameskttz. If you're a filmmaker and want to get your film on the air, or if you have a beef with the show, email me at paul.hunton@ttu.edu. Until next time, I'll see you at the movies.